I'm in Shenandoah National Park at Bootens Gap. The elevation here is about 3270, and we're going to hike down the fire road here down to the Conway River. Here's what the beginning of the fire road looks like. I sure hope the whole road isn't like this, but I stopped by here last week. At the end of my hike last week, I stopped by here to see what this road looked like, and I knew it was tall grass, so at least this part of it was. So I got bug spray on and long pants. So planning to hike this down to the Conway River and maybe follow the Conway River down the east side of the Blue Ridge here for a while. I'm 1.1 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2730, and this is the headwaters of the Conway River right here. Here's where I came from, this fire road, and here's the headwaters. There's a drainage pipe that runs under the road here, and there it continues on down the side of the mountain. Gonna have to get to a lower elevation though before we have like permanent water. And here's where I'm headed. This section's it's still overgrown, but not nearly as bad as up higher. So I'm just gonna keep on heading down the east side of the Blue Ridge along this old fire road. 1.36 miles into my hike. My elevation's 2630. And I'm currently hiking through an S-turn that's going to take me on a north to south path. Up until now I've been hiking basically in an easterly direction, and now I'm going to be hiking in a southerly direction. My position right now is 23,000 meters easting. You can find that on the map. You'll see an S-turn there. So the rest of the hike down is going to be more or less hiking south and following the headwaters of the Conway River. I'm 1.5 miles into my hike. I'm down to 2550 on elevation. And I just walked out of Shenandoah National Park and into the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area. There's where I came from, and you can see there's a chain across the road there, so people can't bring four-wheel drive vehicles up into the national park. But here's the way I'm going, and look at how different the road looks here. You can tell it's being used, and there's even a turnaround area right there. So the rest of my hike down should be nice, easy hiking on this stuff. We'll see. And I'm starting to hear some water. So hopefully, in another half mile or so, we'll be close enough to the Conway River to see it. So for now, we're leaving Shenandoah National Park after a mile and a half of pretty nasty hiking. And we're going to be continuing the hike on this nice, well-used fire road here in the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area. .65 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2456 elevation, And here's another a feeder that feeds the headwaters of the Conway River. I'm right at a hairpin turn in the road. That's where I'm going. Here's where I came from, and there's the downstream part of the feeder. And my northing is 60,300 meters. .86 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2375 elevation, and this looks like a campsite along this old fire road. Here's the road coming up from the bottom of the mountain, and there's a turnoff right there. Here's where I came from, and this way there's another turnoff this way that heads over that way. So I'm sure there's a campsite down there somewhere too. So I'll mark this on the map. If you've got a four-wheel drive vehicle and you want to do some camping up here, here's a spot that you can call home for a weekend. For now, I'm going to keep heading down the side of the Blue Ridge. Two miles into my hike, I'm down to 2327 elevation. My northing is 59,883 meters northing, and here's another feeder stream coming down the side of the mountain. This one just crosses the road like this. Okay, there's no pipe, and there it continues on down over there to feed into the Conway River. So I'm going to continue going this way, heading on down the east side of the Blue Ridge. I'm 2.7 miles into my hike. I'm down to 2,065 feet elevation. There's another feeder stream crossing the road, feeding the Conway River. There's where I came from, up the side of the mountain from Skyline Drive. Here's a feeder stream. I'm at a hairpin turn. So I'm going to cross this, and I'm going to do a little searching here. There's supposed to be a benchmark, U.S. Geological Survey benchmark, just west of this road from 1929. So I'm going to see if I can find it. I have a verbal description of where it's located, so I'm going to see if I can find it. I also have the coordinates, but the coordinates are approximate, read off of a map. So when you get close to one of these benchmarks, the easiest way to find it is to read the verbal description. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop here for a few minutes and look for this benchmark. .16 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,960 feet elevation, and here's a campsite. Here's a fairly large one. There's the headwaters of the Conway River right there. Here's the campsite. Here's the fire pit, and up there's the fire road that I'm hiking down. So, and this part of the fire road is in pretty good shape. You could probably make it up here in good weather. You could probably make it up here in just a regular vehicle. So, of course, there could be washed out sections further down the mountain, but this part up here is pretty good up to here anyway. So I'll mark this one on the map. This is a nice little campsite right here. Headwaters of the Conway River. This is right next to that campsite I just showed you. Plenty of water here. That's looking downstream. I'm 3.65 miles into my hike, and I'm down to 1,777 feet elevation. And this is where the fire road crosses Bootens Run. And Bootens Run comes down from higher up there to the left, crosses here, and goes down that way and flows into the Conway River, which is off to my right. Okay, so rather than ford this, I think I'm going to turn around here. I've got another 3.65 miles to get back up to my car, and quite a bit of elevation to climb. So I'm going to turn around and head back up this way. And when there's a spot up here that I showed you earlier where the road is real close to the Conway River, I'm going to stop there and eat lunch. Okay, here's another campsite along the Conway River. That's the Conway River straight ahead. And there's a little side road. When you're coming up the side of the mountain from the bottom, it would be a turn to the left, and it's about maybe a tenth of a mile in here. I decided to explore this, but there's places to camp up in there, over in there. Here's one here right by the river. I'll mark this one on the map too. On your way back up the fire road, when you get to this fork in the road, you bear to the left. I don't know where the road to the right goes, but you bear left. Here's where I ate lunch. This is one of the campsites up there. I just came down the hill here a little ways, right next to the river, Conway River. That's looking downstream. There's looking upstream. Very nice here. Climbing the mountain. I'm 5 miles into my hike and I'm back up to 2,200 feet elevation. The road's veered off away a little bit of ways away from the river. Right there's a little feeder stream though. And here it is heading on up the east side of the Blue Ridge. So I think I got about maybe 3 more miles to go. I got another, let's see, I'm at 2,200. I got to get to a little over 3,200. So I got another 1,000 feet of elevation to climb. So I better get with it. Oh, stopped here to take a rest and drink some water. I'm 5.8 miles into the hike. I'm up to 2540 elevation, and I'm back up to the boundary between the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area and Shenandoah National Park. Down this way is the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area. Over here is a little turnaround where I stopped to take off my pack and get some water. And up that way is Shenandoah National Park. So I'm going to put my pack back on. I think it's about another 1.5 miles up to Skyline Drive. It's a pretty steep climb from here. I got to get, let's see, I'm at 2540 and I got to get up to about 3,200 feet. So here we go. Whew. Still climbing the mountain. 6.86 miles into my hike, and I just climbed through 3,000 feet elevation. I got about 250 more feet to climb over the next, well, I don't know, half mile. So here, take a look around. It's pretty much a jungle in through here. There's where I came from lower down. Whew. It's a pretty good workout. It's too bad they don't trim this, but hey, something different to hike. So let me see if I can make it back up to my car. Here's the map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Fletcher, 1999. Came into Shenandoah Park at Thornton Gap via US 211 and then drove south about 20 miles to Bootens Gap, which is about mile marker 55. There's a little parking lot off the road over here on the east side. So you park there And then you'll immediately see the Appalachian Trail, and you'll also see this fire road. So I started hiking down the fire road. Okay, this part of it's in Shenandoah National Park. Until you get down to here, and here where it says gate, you'll see where it was gated off. And the road dramatically changed from really overgrown to pretty well maintained down here. To the right of this red line is the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area. I've explained the history of the Rapidan Wildlife Management areas in earlier videos, but basically these were parcels of land that were originally supposed to be part of Shenandoah National Park, but at some point the federal government stopped buying land from the state of Virginia, and these parcels, Virginia got stuck with these parcels, and they decided to turn them into wildlife management areas. So anyway, here's where you leave Shenandoah National Park and enter the Rapidan Wildlife Management Area. Keep hiking down. When I got down to here, to this hairpin bend in the road here, you'll notice it says BM 2026. That's benchmark, and the elevation is 2,026 feet elevation. That's the benchmark that in the video I stopped and looked for. It was from 1929. It was put in close to a stream, though, within 10 feet of a stream, and I didn't see any trace of it. So either I missed it, because it got totally overgrown with stuff, or another possibility is since 1929 there could have been a big flood down through here, through this creek, and it could have ripped the rocks away that it was embedded in. After that, I continued on down until I got to here. Now right here is where this Bootens Run comes down here, and the Conway Fireroad crosses right there. And that's a fairly wide area to ford. You'll see that in the video. And so instead of trying to get across that, I just decided I had hiked far enough and decided to turn around and go back up. So turned around here and hiked on back up. Gosh, I'm not sure exactly where. Somewhere along in here I stopped for lunch because this is close to the river. And then after that, back on up, all the way up here to Bootens Gap to where my car was parked. Okay, so that was the hike for today.